And we'll walk round the compound. We'll see some tigers and hopefully hear squeaks. Listen here, you yahoos. It's Walk Around the Compound webcast time, which means I'm going to be starting with a cat. Now, which one? I don't know. You're going to have to figure it out. Starting now. Oh. A little bit of yawn. A little bit of stretch. Possibly a sit-up. Papa. Fed last night. He got himself a horse head, and looking at it over, he definitely did a number on it. He ate a bunch of it. Of course, as you can see by his belly, which is rather large, he had a good evening. Now it's nap time again. Imagine that. Polly's sleeping. Polly's sleeping. And this is, I'm going to tell you, people might be like, I'm starting to, and actually I haven't seen any comments about this. But people could be like, I'm starting to get worried about Polly. And I'm like, honestly, I'm not. Because if he is eating an entire horse, like in one evening, an entire horse head, he ate it. I'm thinking like he's feeling pretty good. He's just being lazy. And here's the thing, it's actually like pretty nice out. We finally got like a real break in the old weather. I think it's probably only in the upper 80s right now, which when you're dealing with days and days of hundreds, having this, oh wow. But, and again, it's still the afternoon, it's still sunny time. Feed day was yesterday, so there's going to be a lot of sleepy kitties. There's going to be a lot of sleepy kitties, except for this one. Ah, yeah. I spoke too soon. Hi, baby. Hi, sugar pie. You're not sleepy. You're not sleepy at all. You are ready to squeak the day. Ready to squeak the day. How beautiful. Hi, baby. Look at you see her when she purrs, her whiskers. Her whiskers shake. Aw. Aw. Ugh. I just feel so bad. Because like she comes over here and then she just sits down because she wants to hang out. But it's like, Cassie, I'm webcasting though. And she's like, you can wait. Does that little phone thing have a pause button on it? It does? Oh, well then. Looks like you can hang out after all. The only cougar that understands electronics. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, look at that. Mr. Milo. Bleh. Milo the leopard sitting there inside. He's inside of his lockdown area, and he's just got like his head just kind of poking out. He's laying down. He's sleepy, and it's very cute. Here you go. Cassie's rubbing on a pipe. She's laying down next to the fence, and she's rubbing her head on a pipe while she's purring. Ugh. Hello, all you big cat lovers out there. It's me, Derek, again. Welcome to another super duper fantastic episode of the Walk Around the Compound webcast. Afternoon cast. Sometimes you gotta have these. Sometimes you gotta have them. We gotta see the compound in its various states and stages. Oops. I wasn't even looking. These bushes. It's so hard. There we go. There he is. Ace is in there, sleeping inside of his cave behind a waterfall. He's part of a side quest. Okay. Coming over to see Noe. Where is she at? I'm not entirely sure. Oh, actually, I don't know if we'll be able to see her. Can you possibly? It's hard to, I can't even see my screen really that well. She's inside that tower. I see her. I see her in there. But I don't know if my camera, oh, she's sitting up. Noe! Noe! I don't think this is gonna work, but always gotta try. Help! Like I said, sometimes you can tell just by their little demeanor, you can tell whether or not they're interested. And I look inside of that den or that house, and I don't think that she's interested. You try that trick like the, oh no, I fell down, I'm dead, next to the fence trick. And it is dependent. It's dependent on the initial level of interest. You have to have that initial level of interest. Now, sometimes doing the, oh my gosh, I'm so dead trick, that in and of itself can spur the interest. But it's not a guarantee. Hi, Selena. Hi, baby. I know. Sleepy girl. Sleepy girl. Such sleepy kitties. Oh my. Oh my. Hi, sugar pie. Yep. You are Shanti. You are Shanti. Where's your sister? Shanti, the tiger, always wanting to crouch, hide behind tall grass and bushes. That's just her thing. I don't know if you've noticed that, if you watch this webcast, but she does seem to take a liking to it. You know, some people collect stamps. Some people go kayaking. Shanti, she sneaks. And she sneezes. Sneakses. Sneakses. What are you doing? You keep on following. What are you doing? Alright. Naya's over here. Naya is over here. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's Naya. Yeah, that's Naya. Oh my gosh. Hi. Hi, Naya. You know something I've noticed about these girls is that they're not exceptionally snuffly. I don't know what to make of that. They're very affectionate, they're sweet. You know, slightly murdery, slightly more murdery than average. Huh? Well, yes. We woke Naya up, so she's like, well, now I gotta pee. I mean, same thing happens to tigers. You know, like that's that first thing you gotta do when you wake up. Oh my gosh, I gotta go take a leak. Well, tigers do too. I know, baby. I know, baby girl, I feel you. Ugh, mornings. Technically, it's afternoon. It's about 1 o'clock. I can't think of a good segue for this, so I'm just going to, I guess, jump into it. Aliens, huh? How about that? They're weird, right? I used to be really into alien stuff, and UFO sightings and UFO encounters when I was a kid. Tickled my fancy. because it was spooky and unknown. It really was something that just kind of like, ooh, oh, what if? And it really did actually, it kind of, hi, Yano. Oh, Yano's just kind of sitting there next to his pool. He's kind of smushing the top of his head to his swimming pool, which is a metal stock tank. Yano. He gave us a little moo. He looked up, gave us the moo. Now he's back to sleeping. All right. Good appearance. Good appearance by Yano. Oh, some people were commenting about not showing Bobby as much. And you know what, you're right. It's a lot of times it's not. I just kind of walk by and I look up and I don't necessarily see her. So I don't really take the time to try to coax her out of wherever she is. I don't know. I don't know where she is. Bobby! Bob! Bobby! But my parents, they're of course like very supportive of, you know, those different types of things, and a lot of times for birthdays or Christmases, I would get books about that stuff, about UFOs, aliens, and I'd read about different accounts. They were like my, sometimes they in a way were kind of like my scary stories. Ooh, like my ghost stories. Oh, well, at least we got this little one. Who's that? Is that Max? It might be Max. Bobcat drinking out of a little kiddie pool. Kitty, get it? Don't be a douche. Don't be a douche. Don't be a douche. He suspects nothing. He doesn't suspect a thing. Got him. Got him. Hi. Being nice? Wow! No, you're not. Oh my gosh, I thought maybe we were going to turn a new leaf or something. Jeez, dude. And honestly, like, he's a little guy, but you really got to be careful about those claws, because they are exceptionally sharp. Hi! Hi, little girl. Little Mia up on top of that cement house there. Alright. Oh, we gotta go see Raven. Gotta go see Raven. I think the last couple of webcasts I've maybe kind of skipped over or glossed over Raven. But I used to, and I used to watch the X-Files. Scully and Mulder. And the cigarette-smoking man. Yeah. I want to believe. And I got lost. I would watch, hi. Of course, any sort of documentaries I could find. Now you gotta realize though, because like aliens are kind of big business now. Like you can watch certain time slots on Discovery Channel or the History Channel. You know, it's just there's a lot of programming, but there might not have been as much. There still was a decent amount, but I would always be looking for something on the TV to consume. I don't know. I guess I was just caught up in the concept of it. Oh, hi Raven. Hi, pretty girl. Yeah, you're beautiful. Little Miss Black Leopard. She's sitting on a twin-sized mattress, complete with, pretty pillows. And there's a little unicorn stuffed animal. And she's got bed sheets. She's got a little comforter. And she's got a fan that's blowing cool air on her. She is digging it. Very much so. I guess it was a lot of that, of course, the we are not alone in the universe kind of idea. Oh, hi Mio. And let's see Milo. There he is. Hi bud. What do you know? Milo, leopard. He's just sitting inside of his housing unit, just kind of surveying the land, and now he's laying back down. There we go. He was up and now he's down. He had to look up and see what was all the commotion about. Derek, what are you yakking about today? Can you just give it a rest? Wait a minute. Wasn't kind of Polly laying in the different opposite direction? Yes, he was. He was. Oh my gosh. He waits until we leave to show some sign of activity. Going back over to the alleyway, Connor Polly, Mr. Pawpaw Pants, he was laying in the opposite direction. And I know that because he peed there. And I remember, like, you know, his tiger neener was close to that hole, so yeah. Now his head's there. Tigers can be gross. They just can. They just can be. But I was fascinated. And I like believed very much so into a lot of the accounts and, you know, personal kind of stuff. Oh, Betty and Barney Hill type stuff, where there's certain you know, like the Travis Walton abduction story. Oh my goodness. And then there was a book. There's some that were just insane, like some stories about, like, there was some people. They were like in Alabama, like rural Alabama, and there was a family who claimed that aliens laid siege to their home. And this was one of my favorite stories, because even as a kid, I'm like, I kind of want to believe this stuff, but this was just like silly. I think when I first started reading, because I must have been like 10, I read about it, and I'm just like, I don't know, maybe. But these aliens like laid siege to this farmhouse, and they were like climbing up on the roof, and they were pressing their faces up against the windows, and like the dad had a gun, and he was like, ah, he's like shooting out the window, and then the aliens, like, but it would make this weird metallic sound when it would hit the aliens' faces, and then they would like do like a backflip, and then they'd like run off into the woods. Like, I'm not even joking. This is the story. I remember like being 10 and just being just like, that sounds scary. That sounds terrifying. And I'm talking about like the big bulbous head, you know, black eye, gray aliens. Which is kind of funny because, you know, it seems to be like that's what like everyone kind of eventually came to agree upon, as far as like, well, this is what they look like. And I think that there were a number of other interpretations. A number of interpretations. Then I started getting older, and then I started to, you know, hear different people kind of talking about this stuff, or, you know, express skepticism over some of these different things. Of course, you know, becoming like a meteorologist, and then you learn about certain atmospheric phenomenon. And then you start to realize, like, oh my gosh, there's so many of these stories can be kind of explained away by naturally occurring phenomenon, or people possibly not knowing what they see, or people just flat out, you know, making stuff up. I mean, there's certain cloud formations that they'll be high up in the sky, and they'll catch and it'll be like maybe like during like twilight time, so it'll be dark here at the surface, but because those clouds are so high up in the sky, they're still technically catching like the angle of the sun as it's like setting, and it'll cast like a strange glow, and it'll look saucer shaped, like orographically lifted clouds, you know, on the tops of mountaintops can absolutely do that, and are oftentimes confused, you know, for flying saucers on top of mountains. Planets oftentimes get confused. And like I like to listen to a lot of like Neil deGrasse Tyson. He'll talk a lot about stuff like that. Because again, it's like UFO. It's like, well, what is the key word? Hi, bud. Hi. Ooh. Hi, Mr. Man. Hi, Mr. Man. Mr. Volvo. Where's your brother? Like the key word in the acronym UFO is unidentified. And too many times people will say like, it's a UFO. It must be aliens. And it's like, no. UFO, all it stands for is unidentified. Unidentified. I started getting a lot more, like as I got older, I started getting a lot more into like reading different things by Carl Sagan, learning about SETI. The acronym is the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Learning about different things like the Drake equation, which is a theoretical equation to try and determine the potential average number of telecommunicatively advanced civilizations within a particular galaxy, based on the number of stars that galaxy has. And again, highly theoretical, and it is based off of, you know, kind of guesswork about like what sorts of planets can possibly be conducive to supporting life. So there's a lot of what I look over. There's only one tiger in this enclosure before. Now there's two. Beans and turkey. Oh, you were in that little I think you must have been in the little cave area. Yeah. Nadal, what up? You in the little cave? Yeah. He's like, yes, it's nice and cool. A good place for tigers to lay. You know, and you look at some of like also some of the historical context for why we started seeing a lot of like UFO sightings. Like they seem to kind of coincide with the rise in like avionics. There we go. During a time when we were actually like, you know, creating and crafting, it was like mid-Cold War. You have things like the stealth bomber. You have reconnaissance balloons that are being sent up there. And a lot of people are seeing this stuff, and then they're like, ah. And then also, it's like it was the nuclear age, and there was also the gosh, I can't remember the guy's name, but it was the Foo Fighters, which the original name Foo Fighters was coined by, he was a fighter pilot, and he was flying around and he saw some pretty peculiar objects following him around, and he dubbed them, they are a certain type of Foo Fighter. And that became like a very famous kind of UFO thing. But sometimes I think that a lot of times what happens is that you get stuff that gets kind of caught up into the collective zeitgeist. It gets caught up into people's imaginations, into their collective whimsy. And then you have a swirling mix of people who kind of latch on, possibly people who are experiencing some sort of delusions, hoaxers, and then you just a lot of people who are primed. They're not crazy, they're not liars, but they're primed to see things and then interpret them. I mean, human brains, we're very good at recognizing patterns. It's one of the things that has allowed us to survive and thrive. throughout the course of our evolutionary history. But whenever we see things and we don't necessarily know like what it is, we still want to try to fill in the blanks because it behooves us to try to know things. If we know our environment, we can capitalize on our environment. That is an evolutionary, that is a biologic imperative. That's an advantage. Ah, BBs. Ron Zoobs are just kind of sitting there in the shade. Sitting in the shade, enjoying some snoozy time. They are surrounded by some stuffed animals. It's very cute. It's very cute. Got a lot of sleepy kitties. And then you see like a lot of the a number of pictures that kind of came up, where it's like literally just like hubcaps thrown in the air and people and then you fast forward in time, because that was a big thing. There was like a lot of different pictures. There was a lot of different things like, look at this, there's evidence here for this phenomenon. Evidence. And a lot of times that stuff gets turned out to be fake, falsified, or it gets explained away as something different. And then we get here into the here and now, where everyone's got a smartphone in their pocket. Everyone. And we don't quite see the same level of of UFO pictures kind of making the rounds. You'd think that there would be more. If the aliens were just flying all over the place, that they would. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to sit there and say like, oh, we absolutely. That means there's nothing out there and we've never been visited. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I remember believing in all of it. All of it. Just being like, yeah, the truth is out there, man. The little 10-year-old there, the truth is out there, man. And then I started approaching things with a lot more skeptical of an eye. And it's like, I want there to be irrefutable, undeniable proof of these things. But I need, it's that Carl Sagan quote, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And oftentimes things like grainy photos or eyewitness testimony, I'm sorry, not going to cut it. Not going to cut it. Now, there's all sorts of different things. Like, again, they could be, they could be here. Who knows? They could be among us. And through some sort of intergalactic ethic of non-interference, they leave us alone. They just watch. Maybe. Maybe we are some sort of like a zoologic species. Just observe. Kind of like how our scientists will go out into the wilderness. Who knows? Or maybe and here's the other thing. There are some instances, I'm not going to sit there and say that all UFO sightings are complete bunkety-wunkety. I think that there are some kind of like, there's some peculiar ones where it's like there's multiple different things going on. There's stuff that's like tracked on radars. There's stuff like that. It's like, all right, I kind of give that a little bit more credence. But yeah, I swears the aliens was sticking their faces up against my porch window, and I blasted him one, and he did a backflip somersault, ran off into the gully. It's like, I don't know if I'm gonna believe you, bud. I think one of the explanations for that one is that farmhouse actually lives directly on top of a fault line, which I guess certain areas of fault lines there's geologic activity that can actually affect some of like either the serotonin or the dopamine levels of your brain, which can enhance the likelihood of like vivid hallucinatory experiences. Yeah, Oh, also, that's another thing. Sleep paralysis. It's like 1 in 20. 1 in 20 people actually suffer from a condition called sleep paralysis. And this is a horrifying, terrifying thing, I think, where basically your brain sends like chemical signals to your body, like, hey, I'm gonna start dreaming. Don't thrash around, because you might like hurt yourself. Because basically we're defragging the hard drive at this point. We're defragging the hard drive, as we do, because we're a brain, and I need you to not move. So it puts the body into a state of paralysis. Well, there are some people, though, they'll be in that state of paralysis induced by vivid hallucinatory dreamlike experiences, but they will also be fully consciously awake. Yeah. And oftentimes that means that people will have these experiences where they are lying in their bed and they're completely immobile. They can look around, they can see everything, and they experience what seems like figures. Sometimes, like whether they might be demons or aliens coming into their room. Yes, there's a lot of people who think that a good deal, a good number of, hi, sugar pie, you don't want me to come over and say hello? Hello. Okay. I don't want my phone to fall in there. But there's a number of sleep researchers who believe, or I guess ufologists or whatever, they can, I think that a lot of abduction encounters stem from that condition. And then people, of course, you know, the conspiracy people are like, that's what they want you to think. That's what the aliens want you to think. Like, oh, okay. Sure. That it attracts a certain type of community. Because again, this is the other thing, like, well, how come the incidents have gone up? Again, when you put things into the zeitgeist, hi, baby. AKA the collective kind of like mental experience, or the collective. It's basically, I think zeitgeist is a term. It's like the collective kind of informational kind of knowledge base of people. It's usually like expressing things that are kind of like current. It's like stuff that's like everyone is kind of collectively experiencing at the time, and everyone kind of knows, whether it be like part of a culture, part of a community. That's the whole zeitgeist thing. So you have the rise in popularity of like aliens and abduction stories. Hold on, we're going to be getting to that. Well, actually, it's 10 seconds. But you have a rise in the popularity of those alien abduction stories. Now it's like immediate on. It's like fresh on the brain. Fresh on the brain. Okay, 3310. Whoa! Oh! Did I just lose some time? What are these marks on my body? Oh! No, no, I was at 3310. Is at 3310. But I imagine if you were to go back in time, where people were a lot more, when society was, they were kind of a lot more, I guess, supernatural oriented. Not Sam and Dean. Huh, they really loved it back in the Middle Ages. No, I'm saying they were more prone to like sincere and deep belief in the supernatural. They would probably, if you suffered from that sleep paralysis condition, they would more than likely be seeing things like, you know, demons or spirits. But then now you kind of fast forward, and then we're getting into this modern era, and aliens are a thing, and there's commercials, and there's documentaries, and there's t-shirts, and there's stories and accounts, and then it, you know, you have that sleep paralysis thing, and you're just kind of you're kind of primed. You're preloaded. Your brain has been preloaded to kind of go there, I think. Again, does it account for 100% of all of that stuff? No. I'm not going to sit there and say that it's the stuff that the eerie or the spooky of those types of things never have happened or never will. But again, healthy skepticism. It's good to kind of, I think, apply that in many different avenues. I personally believe. Hi, Layla. Inside her house. Inside her house. Yeah, she doesn't want to come out. She's afraid of the aliens. Afraid of the aliens. Oh my gosh. You know, I was thinking about, talking about different things as far as like, you know, maybe the Fermi Paradox. Because there's the absolute vastness and the size and the scale and scope of the universe. It would be unimaginably, to me, unlikely that there's not some form of life out there. Whether or not it knows that we even exist, that's a whole thing. I mean, like, even yeah, like within the scientific community, there was a time period like long ago, like earlier kind of, I think 1800s, when telescopes got better and scientists were able to kind of point up and they were able to see, I think, pulsars for the first time ever. Pulsars they're like a form of star remnant from long past supernova explosion, and someone may have to correct me if I'm wrong, but it spins at like an unbelievably fast rate. So it's a star, like a really small star, but it spins really fast, and it does it at a like almost like clockwork. Spin, 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 spin. And when people first saw that, they're like, this thing is blinking. Like that has to be aliens. Has to be an intelligent form of life out there. No, it's just a naturally occurring phenomenon. Naturally occurring phenomenon. It's I think it's unlikely, but it's entirely possible that there's like a couple things like, well, you know, because people then ask, okay, smart guy, if let's just say that all the UFO stuff is malark, well, how come we haven't been like officially contacted? And it's like there could be a couple different reasons. Maybe we're the first. Advance. It's incredibly unlikely, but could be possible. Might be the first. Again, maybe we have to get to a certain evolutionary level. And again, it's like, how could we even like really try to understand like what the ethic and motivation of what could potentially be a wildly more advanced race of creature being? It's like, you know, let's say that we're like at the level, you know, of mice. You know, like the intellectual level of a mouse trying to communicate with, you know, an alien that you're talking now like the intellectual kind of difference between mice and people. Like, I don't know about you. I don't spend my day kind of going down to mice and just being just like, hello. My name is Derek. Let me tell you about things like air conditioning and Pizza Hut. You know, I will show you my secret. I'm not spending my time doing that. And that mouse is going to be like, squeak? Like, it's not going to understand. It's not going to know what I'm talking about. So, oh my gosh. I could really go on for a lot longer about this stuff. But cats aren't really, too active. Oh, I guess also another thing kind of to figure out, like, Sweating, getting some salt in my eyes. But it was like a thing that I'm hearing about from the Neil deGrasse stuff, when he was talking about like what are people made out of, which it's like hydrogen, oxygen, carbon. Was it nitrogen? I don't know if it's that. But basically, the like 4 of the most abundant elements, like already pre-existing in the known universe, and we're made of them. So again, they're 4 of the most abundant elements that already exist. So it's like, yeah, like if that's the case, it would just make sense. Like, okay, yeah, that there's probably going to be other, you know, hydrogen, carbon, oxygen based life forms out there, because hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon are everywhere. They're just everywhere. Can't get away from that stuff. Everywhere in the universe. Oh yeah, Fermi Paradox. I'd have to read up. Before we even... Maybe the next one I can talk about the Fermi Paradox. Oh, stay tuned. I'm going to say, I don't know if this webcast was really that great. Only because it was just a lot of me just kind of babbling, and the cats were just really sleepy. They're just really tired. And it's long. People probably just like, ugh, we get it. Alright, I see Ace. He's on his pillow over there. We're going to go. We're going to end on him. Probably going to get a lot of different comments and like from some UFO people. You know, you really sounded a little bit ignorant. Let me see if I can kind of like get you more woke. Like, okay. Like I said, I don't completely discount the idea that this stuff exists, but a lot of the current evidence, I had to come to my own conclusions that I think that the vast majority of it is just not. I just don't give it the credence that other people do, I think. That's all. Give me real evidence. Like that movie Arrival, where basically like a bunch of alien ships like land in strategic different locations all around the planet, and like all the nations of the world have to kind of like, that's, I'm like, okay, like I'll believe that. Like that's a good bit of evidence right there. But anyway, I'll talk to you folks later. So yeah, all right, thanks for watching. Right, bye bye.